I've worked at Hyatt Regency New Orleans for 7 years.
3 years.
22 years.
I've been at Hyatt Regency New Orleans for a little under 4 years.
The best part of my job is being excited about coming to work.
I like to work in here because I feel comfortable with my coworker and my chef.
My favorite thing about working at the Hyatt Regency New Orleans is definitely the people, as well as the benefits that we have here at the hotel.
I can vacation like 2 weeks and then they still pay me. I love it.
The 12 free room nights that we get every year as a full-time Hyatt associate.
12 free nights a year. Amazing. Anywhere around the world.
401k for save money for the future.
We have many committees here at the hotel, which allows our associates to get involved in our communities as well as other departments.
The staff here is very diverse. You get to meet people from all over.
They support growth. They want you to grow here.
We're very big on promoting within, so promotions and internal transfers.
There's always a chance to move up to to a better position.
Hyatt prepares you to become great. They are going to always award you for your great work, always.
The leadership here at the Hyatt Regency New Orleans is outstanding.
You always see leadership committee members and our general manager out about around the hotel, greeting guests and greeting employees, just checking in, seeing how things are.
The best thing about living here in New Orleans?
Mardi Gras, definitely Mardi Gras, and number 2, the food.
The culture, the food, of course, and the people.
For the last 7 years that we've been open, we have consistently been one of the best places to work.
Hyatt Regency New Orleans wants you to come and work in our environment and be part of our team.
Come join us at the Hyatt Regency Hotel.
Come to work with us.
We are.
We are.
We are.
We are
We are.
We are
Hyatt Regency New Orleans.
All cities have hotels, but this isn't your average city. And this, no ordinary hotel. Welcome to Hyatt Regency New Orleans. I'm your host, Randy. Whether you're here on property or watching from afar, we are so glad that you've joined us today. With its gracious staff, contemporary design, unparalleled meeting and event spaces, and convenient location, it's easy to see why Hyatt Regency New Orleans is the city's flagship hotel. But behind it all, there's a story you may not know. From the pivotal role the property served when disaster struck in 2005 and the visionary renovation that followed, to the GM's work that's made this hotel one of the most generous nonprofit supporters in the city's history. Hyatt Regency New Orleans is still writing chapters to its amazing comeback story. And it all began in 1976 when the hotel first opened its doors.
Hyatt was conceived to companion with the Superdome. We were built to anchor what was in conception the sports and entertainment district with the Superdome as the headquarters hotel.
The Superdome is really one of the 3 big demand generators, we call it, for New Orleans. It's one of the reasons that people come here for major events. It was built in the early 70s, and it was billed at the time as the answer to New Orleans tourism. If you think about what has happened over the years since this model was created back in the early 70s, all of the major sports properties and convention centers now have headquarters hotels attached to them, but this was one of the first.
If you could walk to the hotel in 1976, I thought at that time was as progressive a hotel as you could find. It had a package of suites, guest rooms. You had the atrium and the revolving restaurant. That was, almost avant-garde at the time for hotels. It was razzle-dazzle and wow when you walk in and you look up in the atrium. You had the seafood restaurant called Jonah's Oyster Kitchen, which was outstanding. We had the Mint Julep after the drink was a cocktail lounge, and we had on the second floor legendary nightclubs, legendary in every way, if you will.
In the late 1980s, a commercial developer opened New Orleans Center, a 3-story high-end shopping mall that connected the Hyatt to the Superdome. Soon after, the hotel created additional meeting space and began to attract more group business.
New Orleans was on everybody's rotation, and most groups found out that when they had their conventions in New Orleans, they had the highest attendance. The hotel business model, it was a combination of citywide conventions, in-house conventions, but more importantly, anchoring the sports and entertainment district as the headquarters hotel for the Superdome. The hotel has been the headquarters hotel for more Super Bowls, more Final Fours, and more college football championships than any hotel in the United States.
Just as envisioned, the hotel's location next to the Superdome had naturally linked the two properties. And for its first 29 years, Hyatt Regency New Orleans was a dynamic hub of activity, popular among visitors and residents alike. But in August of 2005, with its proximity to both the stadium and to City Hall just across the street, the hotel found itself in a position to serve New Orleans in an entirely new way.
There is the potential with this storm for flooding in neighborhoods in Metro New Orleans inside the levee protection system. It's that strong a storm.
The week before Katrina, I was actually in Hong Kong. I got back and I had a close relationship with Entergy, the utilities company. They said this is real and they were giving me real-time information.
The Superdome, of course, was designated as a refuge of last resort. The Hyatt was the headquarters hotel for all of the emergency preparedness personnel, the city personnel, the mayor, the leadership of the federal agencies.
As we had done before, we took on the associates, and when you take on the associates, you take on their families. So we had about 975 associates and family members here. And in addition to that, we took on guest rooms because we had done it before and we didn't know the severity of it, although I knew this was real. So at the end of the day, going into the night before, we had 3,800 guests in the hotel. That's including associates.
When Katrina hit, my role was to make sure that the dome was prepared to accept the evacuees that would be coming in. And of course, Michael's role here was to manage the Hyatt. Neither one of us, I think, probably understood what we were about to encounter. And of course, over the next several days, things began to deteriorate. The conditions were awful. What no one anticipated was the devastation that we were going to experience, both at the Superdome and the Hyatt. And I remember that morning when Katrina was bearing down on us, our roof at the Superdome was being peeled like an onion. We lost 75% of our roof membrane. And a lot of that material actually was blown into the Hyatt.
Pictures and video of the hotel's shattered windows became iconic images of Katrina's devastating effect on New Orleans.
If it would have been just the hurricane, I thought we would be okay, and then the levees broke.
Now the Hyatt was like the Superdome. It was on life support during that period right after Katrina, so it was completely devastating.
What was looming was the 33,000 people in the Superdome. And I was trying to protect the 3,800 people that I had here, so I'm trying to get them out. I got some out on Tuesday, got some out on Wednesday, but on Thursday, I'm still here with those 900 and some odd employees. I managed to secure the 50 buses that it would take to get the associates out. All I wanted to do was to make sure that everybody was safe and secure. And the proudest moment for me is out of those 3,850 people that everybody walked out of here safe. And that is for sure.
With the extensive flooding downtown, the evacuees at the Superdome were escorted into the New Orleans Center Mall and through the Hyatt Regency Hotel in order to reach the buses that had arrived to take them out of the city.
There were so many good people in that building that were just trying to make it, and they had lost everything. It was such a crushing, terrible thing.
The hotel stayed open for 3.5 months, not for commerce. All we did is support the city, Homeland Security, the Entergy, all the first responders. But it became ground zero for Hurricane Katrina.
The city's future was completely uncertain.
We actually thought that we would open in 2006 and 7 and 8 and 9, and I was working on it. It became an odyssey for me.
If Hyatt Regency New Orleans was going to survive, its leaders would need patience, vision, resilience, and a lot of support. For the role it had played as the city's command center before, during, and after the storm, government and community leaders at all levels made it a mission to help Michael reopen the hotel. Neighbors on every side of the property got involved, including City Hall, SMG, and the owner of 2 adjacent office buildings.
Chris Robertson stepped in to buy the hotel. And if you think about it, that was a bold move. This hotel was still devastated. The Superdome was just about to reopen, and there were still doubts about the marketplace.
I had supported Michael the best I could as a neighbor at the time, and then when I came back, he and I developed a very close relationship as the hotel was winding down.
And I think that that was a chance to reimagine what we could be.
We saw it as an opportunity. We knew the strengths and weaknesses. Michael had been here before, knew a lot of the things that the hotel could use to bring it into the next generation.
When he came in and we said we were going to do this project and we had these big ideas, I had the business model in my head. I'd already done the market research. And I thought it was intriguing, but my intrinsic value to the project was my connectability to the mayor, to the city council, because I just went through this thing with them, and it was always going to be an attachment, always.
I remember meeting with Chris in those early days right after he acquired the property, and he told me about his vision for the hotel.
We wanted to move the hotel from the 85,000 square feet of meeting space to over 200,000. We wanted to give it a modern and contemporary look. We wanted to get rid of all that brick, and we wanted to do the lighting, and we wanted to make this, reimagine this the way it could be, reverse the entrance of the hotel.
It was a very grand plan, and he was able to get the financing, and the work began.
Everybody wanted the Hyatt open. That's what the emotional attachment was to the Hyatt Regency New Orleans, and people felt that. They felt that. We would not have been able to reopen with all of those subsidies that the city and state provided, which led us to say that we had to do more in support of what the city was trying to do, because they were definitely supporting us.
After 6.5 years and $285 million, the Hyatt reopened on October 19th, 2011. It was the end of an odyssey for Michael, Chris, and the rest of the stakeholders who had worked tirelessly so that Hyatt Regency New Orleans could welcome guests once again. With a completely reimagined property, Michael began to focus his attention on how he and the hotel could support the community.
If there's ever a city that needs, New Orleans is a gold mine for it, because it's a need at every different level across all these different platforms. There's a need to support. The cause that is the most impactful for me is education. And education is the equalizer for the economy, for generational wealth. As a guy who was born and raised in the South in a poverty situation, I was a guy who was not supposed to get out of there and make it, and I did. The first person in my family to go to college and get up and go. And so I understand. When I go over and I see those students, a lot of those students are like I was.
I use Michael Smith as an example to every young African-American boy I see. I said, let me tell you one thing. Don't tell me anything about you can't get this because you're black. I don't want to hear that. And I said, look at this man, Michael Smith. Look how he has brought himself up. You can do the same thing if you just try.
Every person has to get an opportunity to be educated. There's no other way. The road out of poverty starts with education. It's become known that the Hyatt New Orleans is very much involved in raising money for education.
At UNCF, we're in a joint campaign with our HBCUs here in the city, which is Xavier University and Dillard University.
When the UNCF New Orleans office reached out to the Hyatt for support with its annual fundraiser, Michael helped transform it into one of the premier gala and social events of the year.
We were so elated that he took this project on as one of his personal challenges to really take it to the next level.
The Hyatt Regency New Orleans is the host of the UNCF Mayor's Mass Ball. And it's not just a physical space where we have the event. And the space is wonderful. It's really the work of the entire team in really trying to underwrite the event. So we're having a scholarship event where your basic banquet and catering are covered, and you have the general manager of the hotel actually working with local philanthropists and business leaders to help them raise money for this event.
Back then, before he took it over as one of the chairs, we were raising about $300,000 to $350,000. And now we're raising over $1 million from that event.
We couldn't have a better champion than Michael Smith. He took fundraising for the UNCF to another level. You can't raise $8 million in 5 years by sitting down.
That has given us the opportunity to really go out and assist more students in our community to help them not only get to college, but through college.
For the UNCF institutions, we've been very fortunate and blessed to have Michael here at this time. So I'm just excited to be serving as president of Dillard during the time that he's here.
Michael is involved in a number of other things in New Orleans besides just education. He really is a new kind of an icon, taking a hotel that is just unbelievable, but also taking it as a good citizen.
I know the hotel is making a difference. And as much as I want to do, and I can't do it by myself, and I got a whole team of people who do it as well. And sometimes I don't know if it's fair for them because this is extra added work, but then when I say it's not fair, they raise their hand and say, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to be involved in it.
The Hyatt Regency, under the direction of and the leadership of Michael Smith, has been a major sponsor for our annual fundraiser, which is the Heavenly Hosts of Stars concert, which benefit the retirement and the health care of our elderly sisters, our mission and our ministry. When we first began the gala, our benefits were about $100,000. And so with the help of Michael Smith and all his donations, we've gone up to over $400,000.
All the organizations that we support, we think it is critical for them to be sustainable. And where there's a void and a need, we think we can fill that void, and we definitely can support the need because we have the resources to do so.
NOBA's mission is to really bring dance to life, and we see ourselves as an organization that not only brings the best the dance world has to offer to be able to inspire the youth and everyone in the community as to the power of the art form, but we also see NOBA as a change agent. We see that very power of the art form to be able to change lives and make a difference in lives. When the New Orleans Ballet Association brings these magnificent companies to New Orleans, the Hyatt Regency sponsors all of the accommodations, so they make it possible for us to bring the very best of dance here to New Orleans. Also, they make it possible for these world-renowned artists to work with the youth of this community through our tuition-free dance programs. We would not be able to do what we do without Michael and the Hyatt Regency.
We feel that it's our corporate responsibility and our civic responsibility, but we feel everybody should be that way.
The Human Rights Campaign is America's largest civil rights organization working to achieve LGBTQ equality for everyone. The Hyatt Regency New Orleans has been the home of HRC Louisiana's gala since the property reopened after Hurricane Katrina. And we've loved coming here every year. Our attendees really look forward to it. Under Michael Smith's leadership, he has ensured that our gala is a success year after year.
There's hardly an organization that I know of in this community in a nonprofit status that has not been impacted in some way by Michael and the Hyatt Regency Hotel.
We know it's the right thing to do. We know it's the right thing to do. That's why we do. It's the right thing to do. But it's also economic development as well, because the people out there and they see you and they know you're doing good, they want you to do better. And that's why they come to you.
Transformation of this hotel property is just beyond description. It has become, I think, a signature property for New Orleans, and what it's been able to do in terms of the support that they provide for us at the Superdome has been transformative.
Since reopening in 2011, Hyatt Regency New Orleans has helped spark more than $3 billion of economic development in the city's sports and entertainment district. And just a few steps away from the hotel is South Market, a vibrant and growing community of restaurants, shops, and residences that's brought new life to downtown New Orleans.
If you look at what's happened here in the last 6-7 years, not only with the hotel redevelopment, but look across the street and look at all the residential, look at all the retail and commercial properties that have been developed since this hotel was brought back online, and since the Superdome was completely renovated, and since Champion Square was developed in 2010. It's amazing what has happened to this end of Boyer Street. I think of the Hyatt Regency as being an iconic property in New Orleans and part of the skyline here that makes our city.
Hyatt Regency New Orleans is much more than a place to meet, dine, and stay. It's become a beacon of service to both its guests and its community. And we hope to see you here again very soon. Thanks for joining us.
Hyatt is so unique in the way that we value our employees. There are chapters within the story of each person's time with Hyatt. First is the introduction stage. This is your first impression of Hyatt. It's a time to find out whether or not you're a good fit for Hyatt and if we're a good fit for you.
I didn't have no idea about this hotel, but I just love it. He was asking me questions and things. He said, okay, you would like to come here? I said, sure, I would like to come here. I would like to start now. I come to work from the door. Everybody would greet us. We greet each other. How are you today? I feel more relaxed when they ask me, how are you today? And that smile. Are you okay? What's your name? And everybody came to me to introduce themselves. I'm like, wow, this is a place for me to be.
Then there's the welcome stage, where we bring you on board to the Hyatt family and you get to find out what we're all about.
Well, the process starts with orientation. They welcomed me with open arms. They knew I was in the Marine Corps and they welcomed me in with open arms. First, I was trained on the night shift. I did that for 2 days. Then 2 days on doing the evening shift and 2 days on the morning shift. This is a great hotel to work at. The atmosphere and the people. The training is good. You're gonna have a ball working here, let's put it this way. The benefits are good, the pay is good, their health care is outstanding. Better than my Veterans VA benefits.
The next stage is working together. This is when you have the opportunity to engage in our company culture and work together with our team to accomplish our goal in taking care of our guests.
I'm a sales manager at Park Hyatt Chicago. I sell the hotel. I'm selling meeting rooms and sleeping rooms. So one of the things that makes me successful here in my job is working together with all the departments and having the departments work with me as well. We wouldn't be able to have a group stay successful or the meeting successful without the participation of the front desk, the participation of food and beverage, the participation of everyone from the doormen to the entire staff in our restaurant. Without us working together, we wouldn't be able to sell the hotel and make the experience what it is.
The next stage is growing and learning. Here you'll have exposure to new opportunities, be able to try new things, and advance your career.
Each day I'm growing as a manager, I'm growing as a service provider. I can give client options. If one of my coworkers or my director overhears me talking with a client, hey, maybe next time try this, suggest this. And it's constantly evolving my approach to service and the way that I assist each one of my guests.
Finally is the thank you stage. We will continue to view you as an ambassador of Hyatt and will always welcome you back. I was a front desk agent for about 1.5 years, and then I became involved with catering. I was an administrative assistant to the special events manager, and then I actually left Hyatt and came back after a short time, and now I'm a part of the front office as the VIP manager. I think that employees who have left the company, they'll always have a good opinion of Hyatt just because of the way it's run and the way that they are valued here, so they'll feel welcomed back either as a guest or an employee in the future.
This is my home. I love it here.
5 years from now, 10 years from now, I'll absolutely be with Hyatt.
Hi, I'm Kelly Gershillis.
I'm Pamela Wynn.
My name is Alexander Wilson.
I'm Katie Kelly.
My name is Howard Dewar. Welcome to the Hyatt Hotel. I love to be here and I'm inviting you to come and join me.